I did say Brandon Flowers is here. The new album is called Flamingo. The single is Crossfire. Brandon, how are you?
Pretty good.
Healthy?
Yeah, I'm pretty healthy.
Chipper?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to your UK tour.
Yes.
Which starts next month. Details in just a moment. Does it feel a bit weird having a solo record out without the rest of the band?
You know, it's similar to the experience that I've had with the Killers, but it's nice having that brotherhood with the Killers.
Yes.
And, you know, we going through things together, and I do not have that at the moment.
No. So, is it a completely different bunch of players that you've got on this? I mean, this is, presumably you're just getting used to each other and...
Yeah, it's weird. You know, it's a luxury being in the Killers because we've acquired so many hits or songs that people are familiar with, and it's strange going back and playing songs that people aren't familiar with. But it's been a learning experience for sure.
Now, these songs that are on Flamingo, if I've got this right, they were intended to be songs for a new Killers record.
When I write a song, I think of it, you know, anytime I begin to write a song, I think of it as a Killer song. That's all that I know.
So when these were penned, your assumption was they were songs for the band?
Yes.
And they're not songs for the band because what?
I guess, you know, a couple of the guys decided it was time for a break.
And you didn't?
I don't want to stop for a year and a half or 2 years. I'm just getting, you know, comfortable on stage, so I really would rather not sit on my couch for 2 years.
And that sounds like quite a luxury to just take a year off or a year and a half off, because we move on, we find new bands, we find new artists to be interested in.
Yeah, maybe I'm tiding it over.
So the rest of the band are thinking, hey, let's take a break, and you had these songs and...
Yeah, and I thought if songs keep coming, I'm going to have a lot of songs. I wouldn't love it if one of them came to make an album and brought 40 songs. So I thought I might as well not do that. I might as well deliver these. For
a solo record. And so the rest of the band are quite happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the new album Flamingo. Just explain what and where Flamingo is.
Flamingo, there's a lot of Vegas mythology behind it. Well, there's a casino and there's a road, and you know, a lot of my experiences in life have taken place on that road, and that's where this. So that's, you know, it just seemed to fit.
What sort of experiences have you had on this? It's like an 8-mile highway, isn't it? So it's a long one.
It's a big road. It's one of the more prominent roads in Las Vegas.
Right, so give us some Brandon Flowers experiences that you've had on this 8-mile highway, then.
You want it all?
Well, a couple of the more, you know, the high-profile ones. What is it? People you've met? I don't know. What's happened on this?
My first job in Las Vegas was at a golf course, and it was on Flamingo, across the street from Sam's Town. Is on Flamingo. It's the name of the Killer's second record. My first job at a casino was at Caesar's Palace. Is on Flamingo. My second job at a casino was at the Gold Coast Hotel and Casino. It's on Flamingo. We recorded our second record at the Palms on Flamingo. I met my wife on Flamingo in a clothing store that used to be a record store where I would buy singles, and wow. So it's kind of, you know, it's my hood. It's my, you know, it's where I frequent the most, I guess.
What were those first two jobs then in the casinos? What were they?
One, I was a bus boy, you know, at a restaurant, and then at the Gold Coast I was a bellman.
And clearly Las Vegas, I mean, right from the first track on the album, you know, this is a Las Vegas record, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely seeped in.
And when you listen back to the record, can you hear how it would have been different if it had been a Killers record? I mean, in what way did it change in the recording process?
It's a more tame record. We tend to be a little bit more bombastic when you get all four of us together.
Right, okay, but when you listen to the record, I mean, it's a fantastic collection of songs. So when you say it's more tame, you kind of think, oh, maybe is it less edgy?
I think it's less edgy. I don't have a lot of edge to begin with.
And you've got 3 producers on an album. Now, why did that occur? Because one would imagine you'd think, right, here's a collection of songs. This is the guy, Daniel Lanois being one of the 3, for example. You'd pick on him to do the whole album. Why have we ended up with 3 here?
Yeah, it's kind of started off with just Stuart. Stuart Price did the last Killers record. He's a great friend of mine, and we have a lot of similar influences. So we were going to really gear down and deliver, you know, maybe a more keyboard-driven record, synthesizers, and the songs that kept coming out of me were not those types of songs. I couldn't make that happen.
They weren't Stuart Price kind of songs. So you needed.
There's one in particular, Only the Young, that is very Stuart Price.
Yep.
And that turned out great. So we needed somebody that had experience with these types of songs. They were more roots, more American, I guess, type of songs. And so Daniel Lanois came to mind because he's actually very open to experimentation with electronics, but while at the same time keeping it very grounded in those roots.
You say grounded, but he can make things very floaty, can't he? If he wants.
Yeah, that's what's great about him. He's
grounded and floaty.
Well, I mean, he knows what's important, the meat and potatoes, but he's able to take it to otherworldly.
Meat and potatoes. So the single Crossfire. Who produced that?
That's Brendan O'Brien.
That's Brendan. So does this make this a floaty song, a meat and potatoes song, a synthesizer? What
it's kind of a combination of everything. I thought that's why it was the best. A good front runner to represent the album.
Right. So it's grounded, it's floaty, it's meat and potatoes, and everything else.
I guess so.
Okay, what's it about? What's Crossfire about?
If I explain what I think it's about, it's gonna, it could ruin it for someone who loves it for some other reason.
Okay. Well, who cares about that person? Okay, give us a hint.
No.
Fair enough. It's your record. Brandon Flowers' single is Crossfire. Here it is. Crossfire from Brandon Flowers. The album is Flamingo. If you have an interpretation of that track, it's yours. Brandon won't dictate to you precisely what it should be. You were talking about influences and how you got to work with Stuart Price and how he worked on some of the tracks, not the others. You're the youngest of 6, is that right?
Yes.
You must have had a whole stack of influences in your family. I mean, your formative years must have been just everyone else's music.
Yeah, everything. I mean, from Britpop to cheesy early 90s R&B.
So did different members of your family deliver? Who was the most influential of all?
My brother, that's where I got all the music from over here.
And what's his name?
Shane.
He's
12 years older
12 years older than you. So that's where all the British influence came.
Yes, definitely.
So you have, this has been discussed before, quite an Anglophile. You've talked about New Order and the Smiths and Pet Shop Boys. At what stage do you remember thinking, wow, all this music comes from Britain? This is odd.
It was exciting for me because it was from somewhere else. Where I was at the time when I was getting into music was a very dull and boring place. It was a small town in Utah. So it was very refreshing and very enchanting, really, to have these bands that were from someplace, that became a fantasy kind of world for me.
So from where you were in Utah, British music seemed quite glamorous and different. And then when you came over to the UK, what did you make of it? Did you think, oh, that's quite exciting, or this is a bit disappointing, or what?
It was inevitable that it was going to be a little bit of a letdown. I had it built up so high,
I'd like to apologise for that.
It's all right.
What was the letdown particularly? The drive through the airport?
I mean, you can't. When you build something up so high, there was no way it could have lived up to the way that I had imagined it.
So what did you find here that was exactly as you
Headline, Brandon Flowers says England is a letdown. I really do love coming here. We've been here quite a bit now, and I'm kind of, growing familiar with places, and, we've just been really taken in here. It's been wonderful.
And do you still like the music from this country? I mean, clearly music goes through phases, and some of it is great, and then some of it is rubbish again.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs.
But you still like some stuff that's coming out of here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when you're getting a tour together like this, does that mean that you listen less and less to other people's music, or more and more? Often if I'm interviewing movie stars, and you talk to them about other movies that are in the top 10, they've got no idea what's happening at all because they've been so immersed in their own work. So when you've got a new record out, does that mean you're more or less aware of what everyone else is doing?
Just in general, I don't know a lot about what's happening.
You got no idea?
No, I hear bits and pieces of things. I heard a few good things, but I don't know. I couldn't name what's in the top 10 or anything like that.
No, I'm not going to ask you to.
Okay.
That's okay. So how long have you been in the country?
3 days.
That's about 3 days. Do you still have the flying phobia that you've written and sung about?
I still don't love to. I'd rather not.
You could take longer and just go on the ferry.
Yeah, the Queen Mary.
Yeah, you could do that if you fancied.
I've checked into it, actually. It takes 5 or 6 days.
But what a sedate and beautiful way to arrive.
Yeah.
Is it getting better as you get older, or is it easier to fly?
I'm doing pretty good right now. I feel good about it.
Much better than you used to be.
Yes.
So now the tour. Tuesday the 12th of October, Glasgow O2 Academy. Wednesday it's Leeds, then Thursday it's Liverpool, Saturday the 16th Manchester Academy, Sunday the 17th London HMV Forum, which is a great gig, that one. Monday the 18th Birmingham HMV Institute. What can people expect, Brandon?
Well, it's obviously going to be very different. It's still something that I'm getting used to and working my way around. That being said, I like to put on a show. I feel like it's a duty when you step on stage, and so I assume that it should be somewhat pleasurable for people. I try my best.
That wouldn't be a great review. Here's a review: Glasgow O2 Academy, Brandon Flowers, somewhat pleasurable. Because I would imagine that any gig, whether you're playing a tiny little stage in a pub or if you're playing Wembley Stadium, you will treat every gig the same. That you'll stand up and you will own the place. I mean, I can't imagine you being timid.
No, I feel like it's a responsibility. I like the ritual of getting prepared for a show and going out there, and delivering. And I guess, I don't know if that comes from being from Las Vegas or not, or whatever that is.
Did the family come with you?
It's very difficult. Yeah, so not that often.
So you've got a wife and you've got 2 kids as well. So they're at home. Does that make the whole touring thing a bit more of a bind?
Yeah, it's harder with each child. So yeah, it's not something that you plan, that you plan for, that you can prepare yourself for. But it's also my job, and so just got to figure it out.
So as soon as you're off stage, Birmingham, Monday the 18th, you'll be home as soon as you possibly can.
Yes,
pretty much. A question from listener Paul John Blackwell: are you human or dancer?
I've been guilty of both.
Do you want to explain? I was going to say, do you want to explain that line? But I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say no.
No, actually, I will offer. People focus on that one line, and I say if you pay attention to the verses, it kind of lays itself out there for you.
Yeah. So it's a bit like being in an English lesson. Just pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention to the rest of the song.
One of the BBC's golf correspondents got in touch.
All right.
Just to make sure that you're still up to scratch, because you are a rather good golfer.
I was good when I was a kid, when I was 16.
Yeah, well, that's not so long ago, Brandon. Come on. So how good are you now?
13 years ago.
How good are you?
For some reason, some people lose it, fall, when they don't play that way. I'm able to get it back pretty quickly. And
what's your handicap?
I don't have one because I don't play enough. But I can go play a couple of times, and it starts to come back, like riding a bike.
Right. It's not very rock and roll, though, is it?
No, nothing about me is it really?
Why do you say that?
My name's Brandon Flowers. I am a Mormon, and and I love golf.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because I remember you said a couple of years back that it's not possible to be a Mormon and cool. Is that still true?
Maybe I'm as close as you can get.
Seem pretty cool to me, Brandon, if you don't mind me saying.
Thanks.
It's a nice cardigan you've got on.
Cardi. You guys see?
I quite like that cardi. How many buttons on your cardi?
6.
6. You see, now that is the epitome of that's a cool cardi. Straight away. I'm very impressed. Brandon, great to have you on the programme. Really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks.
And looking forward to the concert starting on the 12th of October in Glasgow. The album is Flamingo. The single is Crossfire. Brandon Flowers, really appreciate that.
Thank you.